Welcome back to the Myth series in depth. In this mission, we will get to storm a castle. This is easily one of the coolest missions in the game and fully takes advantage of the Soulblighter engine. As I said before, the story starts to get more interesting starting with this mission also. Now here is the journal for this mission.
Tuesday, September 2nd, near Braille. When we reached Tallow, Rorik told the mayor he had overheard the brigands speaking of taking corpses to a castle near the town of Braille. Indeed, the locals we encountered on the way said they had seen many wagons filled with bodies being hauled into the keep. The master of this castle is Baron Kildare. We were joined at Tallow by reinforcements to attack the Baron's stronghold and put an end to his unwholesome trade in human remains. This evening at our camp just outside the keep, I was awakened by a low rumbling. We watched in helpless silence as a massive army of thrall, 10 abreast and 100 deep, marched out of the main gate heading south. Kruniak fears their destination is Tallow and has sent a runner to warn the town. I cannot help but feel somewhat relieved. We should meet little or no resistance tomorrow instead of facing hundreds upon hundreds of thrall. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said for Tallow.
In the journal, Rorik tells the mayor of Tallow that the brigands were taking corpses to the castle near the town of Braille, where Baron Kildare resides. There is a journal image showing the brigands bringing the corpses to the castle with horses and wagons. Most certainly these corpses will be taken to Soulblighter or a shade to be turned into undead units. This image is also proof that horses do in fact exist in the world of myth. Why exactly horses are not in the army is sort of a mystery though. Perhaps there are not many horses in the world of myth, and so they are primarily used for farming. Another possibility is that the horses would be scared of the undead hordes and therefore were not a good option in combat. Myth GURPS says that Ulrich refuses to use horses in the Legion, but doesn't explain why. This really isn't much of an explanation. Realistically, Bungie probably didn't include them because they are much harder to program than other units, because they need to constantly move in combat. Either that, or Bungie felt it didn't really fit well in the strategy of the game they had created. Let me know if you have some other opinions on this. Baron Kildare is basically Soulblighter's puppet. There are a couple of journal images showing him. The Soulblighter manual tells us that he became Baron out of nowhere 10 years before the start of Myth 2 Soulblighter. The manual tells us that he claimed to keep Kildare and the surrounding lands with his brigand cohorts. The manual also tells us that it was thought all of the Kildare family was killed during the Great War. No doubt Soulblighter had his influence on him at this time. His function is basically to raise an undead army for Soulblighter, which is why the brigands are bringing the corpses to the castle. His flavor text confirms this. The nearby villagers had taken to burying their dead as far from the Baron's domain as possible after seeing their recently deceased kin roaming the lands. The journal tells us that an undead horde left the fortress just before we were able to attack. There is a journal image showing the thrall leaving the fortress. No doubt Tallow will be destroyed because of them. Because the Legion doesn't want to expose their plan to attack the fortress and catch the Baron, they have to let the horde go. Alternatively, you can actually run into this group of thrall on the way to the castle and kill them if you are fast enough. In the mission they are not 10 abreast and hundreds deep, so I suppose you could say that this is actually a different group leaving the castle. The journal also mentions getting reinforcements at Tallow, and we get reinforcements in the mission. You could say these are one and the same. In the mission there's a new enemy unit called a Stygian Knight. These knights were in the journal images with the Baron. The Soulblighter manual tells us that they are magically animated suits of armor created by the darkest sorcery. At this time, only Soulblighter can create them, making them very rare. Soulblighter gave them as guards to his human associates, like the Baron. They wield huge battle axes and are unharmed by arrows. They are very weak against dwarven grenades though. Because they have no physical body parts, they do not bleed if a piece of armor is dismembered. The Myth 3 Wolf Age manual tells us a bit about them. It calls them guardians, so they are typically created to protect something such as a person or a tomb. Stygian Knights are actually created by using dark magic to take a living soul and prison it into the confines of the armor. Necromancers often used them in the past as tireless killers and bodyguards. Some Stygian Knights were created from Necromancers' most loyal followers so that they could outlast death itself. For this reason, they exist in many tombs of buried ancient Necromancers and mages. Or at least they were back in the day. In Myth 3, they wield pole arms instead of battle axes though. Here are their flavor texts from Myth 2 Soulblighter. Empty shells of armor animated by mysterious sorceries. The Stygian Knights have no true spark of life, and thus no fear of death. It is said that the animation rituals require the caster to surrender a portion of his soul and provide the knight's semblance of life. There are a couple of flavor texts from the Myth 3 The Wolf Age that talk about their creation and their duties. His sacrifice still twitching, Kel Byrne smeared the sanguine liquid into the black suit of armor, all the while listening. As the last dragon breath wheezed from the sacrifice, Kel Byrne breathed it in deeply. Then, walking to the suit of mail, breathed out the dead man's essence into the iron helm. Slowly, the creak of metal sounded as the hollow suit began to move with life. Mages throughout time have searched for the perfect guardian, one that can serve as a steadfast bodyguard, an unquestioning servant, and a tireless sentry. In the long-forgotten territory, the steward of the land bid a challenge to create such a guardian. A coven of necromancers answered the bidding by delivering 100 warriors clad in black armor to the land. The Stygian Knights can be a tough unit to deal with if you don't have any dwarves around. They hit hard in melee and your arrows are useless, so at this point you are almost forced to attack them. That being said, they are slow, so you can easily avoid them with your melee units. Can't say the same for your archers though. In the mission there are some dark bowmen we will have to deal with, and they have a couple of their own flavor texts. But not all men picked up the bow for love of their country or defense of their liege. For some it was for love of money, and others an unnatural desire to kill. To the likes of the highwaymen of the Chalk Hills and the bandit gangs of the Terran Downs, it was business as usual. It didn't matter who died as long as their bellies were full. The map shows the Chalk Cliffs are the hills near Covenant, so I would assume that these are also the Chalk Hills. It is hard to see, but the Myth 2 map does show the Terran Downs as the mountains at the southern tip of the Cloud Spire. They are labeled much clearer in the map in GURPS. Several of the images that appear in the GURPS book are actually the same images as in the Myth game, except for they are of much higher resolution. From this flavor text, we know that there are some problematic ruffians in the world of Myth prior to Soulblighter's return. It likely wasn't difficult for Soulblighter to sway them with fear and money. In the mission, we get another Dwarven Pathfinder named Jari. Just like Myth the Fallen Lord's mission, Sons of Mirgard, where we control Balin, Jari will be invisible and doing some infiltration. Jari is actually the son of Balin, so he is continuing on his legacy. His flavor text confirms this. It also tells us he has some sort of important family tie in Stonheim. Then Kruniak called for the dwarves. Foremost amongst them was Jari, son of Balin, and Uni, daughter of the Archon of Stonheim, strong and wise, unsurpassed in bravery or daring. Jari will be an important part of this mission. There's a cutscene showing Jari getting into position to infiltrate the keep. I love his laughing in the cutscene. Absolutely hilarious. When we get to the mission, this drawbridge is actually down, so this cutscene actually happens halfway through the mission. In the first part of the cutscene, you see a crow on the right side of the screen. Is Soulblighter spying on us? It is kind of odd considering you hear seagulls in the background. Also, if you look on the left side behind the barrel, The shadow sort of looks like Pikachu with sunglasses, or something else. I'm sure you could come up with some interesting alternatives. There was a new ambient creature in the mission, the fish. While there is no fish flavor text in Myth 2, there is one in Myth 3, the Wolf Age. The fish of yore were mighty indeed, for as my grandfather tells a tale with outstretched arms, he once caught one this big. Now let's jump into the mission. Penetrate the outer defense of the Baron's castle. Sneak your invisible Pathfinder dwarf into the castle to lower the drawbridge. Fight your way into the castle and then to the entry of the keep. Alright, so we got a couple dwarves, a few bowmen, and a good chunk of warriors, 12 of them. So to start off, there's going to be a bunch of goals we got to worry about. So what I want to do is I want to keep your warriors close to your guys. They have some like meat cleavers and stuff they'll throw at you, but no pus, so that makes it fairly easy to kill them. You just got to make sure that you're not letting them get to your dwarves and bowmen.
Move here, move there.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. We're moving.
Okay.
They're pretty easy to deal with, so I keep the warriors at the back.
Yes, sir.
Keep my guys from getting too far spread out.
Okay.
Take that. Yes, sir.
My God.
Yes, sir. We're on it. And stay down. Yes. Yes, sir.
As long as your warriors are always close, you can keep them from surrounding you, because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to surround you.
Yeah. Yeah. Move there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, looks like there's another group coming still.
Yes, sir. Yes. Yes.
Still quite a few more. Let's see this real quick. I really don't expect them to be much of a challenge, but you know.
Yes, sir. We're moving.
Yes.
They kind of run around a little bit, then they'll charge you.
Stand clear.
Okay.
Move over.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Watch your fire.
Mic up, yum.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Burn. Yes. Oh, yeah.
We're on
Oh,
it.
come on!
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Okay. Yes. Oh.
We're on it.
Okay.
They apparently I locked them onto one guy and they just let him through. That's annoying. Oh well, it's one hit. It's not that big of a deal, but
Yes.
Yes, sir.
it's a goof up on my part.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Mic
so
up, yum.
up here there's a bunch of bowmen we gotta worry about past this gate. So the hard part is the thrall will want to rush you. So if you hide your dwarves behind this wall, they won't bother you. We're gonna use our we're gonna draw them out with our bowmen though, and we're gonna use some fire arrows to mess them up. Let's see right here real quick. It's gonna be easy to lose. Like if they get like a fire arrow on my door for the extent if they hit one of my archers with some lucky hits, you know what I mean. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to put some fire arrows down for them to walk through to get up to me. Trying to park them right on the fire. Let the fire do the work. See some of them dying.
Yes.
The fire can do a lot of damage if you get it in the right spot. And some of these are... The bowmen are like focused on the doors, but they can't shoot them right now.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Catch. Burn. Oh yeah.
You just gotta keep them close enough to the wall so that the bowman can't hit them.
Burn.
This guy wants to come down. Now we gotta be careful that they don't come like down here and shoot fire arrows where they can hit me.
Casualties.
And that can happen. I didn't have a plan for that. Okay, let's do this again. Not a big deal. I kind of figured if I was going to lose somebody, this would be the part where most likely to happen.
Duck.
Didn't do quite as good this time.
Sweet.
What's turning out better?
Sweet.
Yes.
This is actually going pretty well because there's only a couple archers left. If I can kill them. How much health they have after this on the my archers isn't as big of a deal.
Okay.
Okay, he gave up his fire arrow, so he's dead now. He's not really a threat.
Move it.
Now I can get away from the wall and spread them out a little bit more.
Mic up, you
So they don't-
burn.
well-
Yes. Oh yeah. Yes, sir. Mic up, you burn. Incoming. Yeah. Burn.
Alright, finish him off.
Move it. Yeah. Catch.
This honestly might be the hardest part about the mission, is this group right here. So if you're having trouble getting past them with no
We're
casualties,
moving.
I understand. The rest of it is actually easier,
Move there.
We're moving.
in my opinion, because like these archers are the biggest pain in the butts.
We're moving.
So we come up to here, then we get some reinforcements.
We're moving. Got it. Yes.
Move here. Move there.
We're gonna get all our group together. Now, when we come up to the drawbridge, they're gonna lower the bridge,
Yes, sir.
or raise it, I mean. And then here's Jari. We'll come back to Jari in a minute. They kind of set up here. We're gonna
Yes. Got it.
we're gonna do a couple things here before. So they're gonna after we lower the drawbridge with Jari, there's gonna be a bunch of brigands that come down here. So we're gonna prepare our trap for them.
Yes, sir. Got it.
Let's back up just a little bit more. There we go. So we got them ready. Actually, I want to show you something. So something you can do, surprisingly, is I don't think you're supposed to be able to shoot arrows up here. Like if you come up here, you can shoot, if you control click, you can kind of shoot up the wall a little bit. And you can see, like sometimes the arrows, because they have randomness, they'll get a little higher. Now, it's kind of hard to hit them there. If you come over here, is this little brigand right here, and it's closer, you see. So if you keep control clicking, we'll fast forward a little bit. You see, sometimes the arrows get up there, and we can actually kill them. Anyways, it's not very helpful, but it's interesting that you can do that. Now there is a bunch of archers right up here, and we'll deal with them. So now we're going to send Jari forward. He's invisible right now. So you got to be careful. So you can't touch them, and if you attack them, obviously you'll lose, because you got to get through this gate right here before you become visible. And if you run too close to them, they'll also hear your footsteps.
You must have saved up a bundle by now,
And
huh?
I have, Nate. That I
Well, you
have.
must be saving up for a reason,
Yep.
huh?
Yep. I've had my eye on the turnip. Well, quite a while. Not just any turnip, the world's
Then what,
biggest
turnip
turnip.
soup for everyone?
You don't just eat the biggest turnip.
So this little dialogue, I'll talk about that after the mission. I was fast forwarding too, so it didn't sound that great, but we'll come back to that. Actually, I'm gonna save this as a new save real quick. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we got to be careful. We don't want to attack them when like a brigand is coming. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to destroy this. That will lower to the bridge. But we need to be careful, because if like some brigands are coming by while we're trying to deal with these bowmen, we'll be in trouble. I'm just gonna take a gamble and see if it works out okay. So I like to start, you know, somewhere like here, so that I'm closer to most of the archers.
Stand clear. Move over.
This was terrible. I'm doing a very, very bad job of juking. That was terrible. Let me try again. No, I didn't. I was trying to move and I clicked on him to attack. Okay, so let me try this. So I think I'm going to start farther over here. And I can kind of use this guy as a shield.
Stand clear. Move over.
Actually gets free hits on these guys while they're coming. Okay, so now we got to worry about both this group coming from over here and from up here. So we can place a satchel down here and start running. And then we can throw it on them right when they're on the satchel if we time it right. Perfect. Okay. Come right up here. Okay, we're ready. We're ready for them. Let's get them. It's probably too early. Oh no, it worked out pretty well. He wasn't even looking at him. That was a lot of grenades to destroy those guys. These guys are closer together. Come on. Don't give me bad luck. There we go. Good, 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 good. Okay. So let's run across this wall. There might be another guy on this wall. We got to make sure that we got our space cleared out so our dwarf is safe. Yeah, it's accidentally there we go. Okay, this wall should be clear now. Okay, there's some more brigands down there. Okay, we'll come over here. He only has one hit left. Okay. Okay, so now we're gonna come down here. We got to deal with these archers. So you see, if I come close enough, they're gonna start targeting this dwarf. So I'm gonna bring this dwarf like right under the bridge. I'm gonna park him like right here, and we'll just stop him. Alright, so gotta get ready, because let's put him like right here. I haven't tried this. Okay, so I'm gonna bring my warriors across, but there's gonna be a bunch of thrall that appear like over here and over here, coming into the center. They're gonna try to sandwich us once we get our forces over here.
We're moving.
I don't know, there must be like right here or somewhere once you cross the drawbridge, just with a certain amount of units or something. I don't know. That they're all up here. I didn't check exactly
Yes, sir.
how it works,
Yes.
but
Yes, sir.
okay, there they are. So we'll deal with these guys real quick. I'm curious, like, what is... That must be one of the brigand swords. I was like, what is that? Okay. Spread back outdoors, you idiots.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, you know, this dwarf doesn't have the crazy bombs that that Balin has in Sons of Mirgard, which would be
We're
cool.
moving. We're moving. Yes, sir.
You can't call for that airstrike, I mean.
Yes, sir. Got it.
So we're just gonna rush all these bowmen with our warriors.
Got it. We're on it.
They have full health and they can take the hits, and I don't really feel like dealing with them.
Yes. 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 Yes, sir. Let's get him. 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 On my way.
We'll dodge this bad guy.
Yes.
So anybody that gets hurt, we can just set off to the side. It's really pretty easy. Like, we have so much health, there's no way they can deal with us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. On my way.
Stand clear.
Okay.
Step aside. Stand clear.
Let's get him.
Look at the poor archers. What are they gonna do now?
And
Yeah, okay. Okay, we got that taken care of. Enough of that.
yes.
Okay, now we can send all our troops across. We're gonna combine this dwarf with our other doors.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. Oh, looks like there's another patrol we didn't get. Goodbye. Okay, so there's another group of brigands. Here's the entrance into the keep that we need to get to. So we got through the outer wall. I guess this is like kind of like the town area inside the wall. This is town area outside the wall. This is like a weaker outside wall and defense. So we gotta. There's another group of brigands up here we gotta deal with. They're really not gonna be much of a problem though.
Yes.
If we need to use our warriors, we will.
Burn!
Yes, got it.
Make up!
Yes.
Yeah!
Let's get it.
Move over. Stand clear.
Just let our warriors finish them off.
Casualty.
Oh, one of them died. What do you know? Didn't expect that. Didn't expect to lose one there.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna. I want to get some kills with my warriors. We'll take these weak ones out. Weak ones out.
Your orders, sir. Yes, sir.
There we go. That way.
Got it.
Yes, let's get him.
Get out of it! Yeah!
Get some kills with our warriors. There we go. That's better.
Casualty.
Oh, we lost another one. I know I'm using my warriors way too much, but I would like to get some kills with them.
Yes.
Let's
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
think if I diversify where my doors are attacking to, because you really don't need your warriors at all. I'm just not like diversifying where my doors are attacking well enough.
Burn!
We're moving. Got it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Stand clear.
Oh yeah!
Casualty.
Dang it! Didn't get him.
Yes, sir. Got it. Got it.
I'm showing a moment of weakness, guys. Sorry.
On my way.
If I wanted to, I could use my pathfinders.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, yes, sir.
Stand clear.
Let's get him.
Yeah! Whee!
Let's let our warriors finish them. There we go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's what I was looking for. You start to use your warriors a bit, and then sometimes you lose one, and we can't do that. Okay, there's some Stygian knights up here, and our bowmen are worthless. So it's just gonna be these warriors and these dwarves. I'll take them. As I said, the doors are
Yes.
the doors are the way to do it. They're gonna come right out of this gate. There they are.
Got it. Got it. Yes, sir.
We'll let the warrior. Oh, I was gonna say we'll let the warriors get it, but this guy was hungry.
Hooray! Hooray! Yay! Hooray! Yay!
We're going in there next mission. It took me a little longer than I was hoping, but there's a lot of steps in the mission, so it takes a little longer. Dwarven Pathfinder got 23 kills, the rest of the dwarves got 76, Bowman got 16, and we got 23 kills with our warriors. That's nice. There's the goals and those brigands at the end, so The windscreen shows the Legion breaking into the castle at the point where the Stygian Knights came out to fight us. There are some bowmen and warriors rushing in. Perhaps this image is of Kruniak, since he would likely be the one turning back to his troops to encourage them as they charged in. The last screen shows the dark bowmen on the castle walls cheering at the defeat of the Legion forces. One question you might ask yourself is, why do the patrols not see the boat that Jari came in? Wouldn't they be a little suspicious or even notice the boat coming with no one aboard? It sure does look like he came for the boat on the cutscene anyways. Seems a bit strange to me. When you sneak Jari up to the guards at the first gate he enters, you hear an amusing conversation about a giant turnip. This is actually taken from an old British comedy called Blackadder. I never heard of this show before this, but from the looks of it, I'm guessing that giant turnips are a running joke on the show. Here is a short excerpt I found on YouTube showing this joke in the Blackadder.
Give me the bloody money, Baldric, or you're dead!
Give me the bloody money, Baldric, or you're dead, my lord.
Just do it, Baldric. Otherwise, I shall further ennoble you by knighting you rather clumsily with this meat cleaver.
Got it.
What?
I spent it.
You spent it? What could you possibly spend £400,000 on? Oh, God, don't tell me.
My dream turnip.
Baldric, how did you manage to find a turnip that cost £400,000?
Well, I had to haggle.
Well, now, what was I saying? Oh, my God.
Turnip, my lady.
Very good, very good. No, Nathaniel, it takes me right back to our wedding night. We had raw turnips that night, too.
Well, that's it for this mission. See you next time in The Baron.